Hey, welcome to this month's issue of Sapper's Illustrated. This is mostly a new format thing where I just take some time out of the day, just attempt to build some fake defenses, and let you guys copy off that, I guess. Without ado, let's just begin. So first off, we're going to be doing the standard above ground objective defense, which currently on this map, ACHTUNG, is not exactly legitimate, since I believe currently you're not able to... Here. You're not able to build above this line, so this is not an intended way of gameplay, and if anything, this might get patched soon. But as of standing right now, this is the best we got since base building is disabled. So regardless, we're gonna be doing standard objective defense. It's pretty neglected since honestly artillery is a bit currently oppressive in the meta, but whatever. It's very helpful for defending on big pushes, and since your stupid chud teammates are probably gonna just do some stupid shit like dig a straight trench from one objective to another to let you get rushed, you might as well just take the time to do it. Keep in mind, I've already gotten 80 resources, which is a lot, and if I was under fire pressure, I would most likely not be able to achieve this many, but since we're here, we might as well do a complete, full spruce up level defense. If you're under pressure, then I suggest you mostly just dig out the area and prepare to dig to Johnson, since there are bigger priorities at hand if you're under attack. So you might as well just try to push ahead if possible, so that you have somewhere to fall back to, even if Johnson is technically ahead. I don't know. Either way, your stupid chud teammates will probably just go high and spawn because they're stupid chuds, and thus you might as well just get something running up so that they actually show spawn for once. Right, so obviously, I did not dig out all this just because I could. The ideal defense is to prevent the enemy from just being able to just shoot down and have a completely enclosed area to shoot. Since if the current meta is shotguns right now, but as of standing, future changes everything. But bullet spread will inevitably cause you to have moments where having an open space will cause you to miss more shots, do shot deviation, sprinting, whatever. Versus if you're in a closed space, then the bullets just don't have anywhere else to go, and thus will inevitably land on you and your teammates. So having an open space is more ideal, since it's like a tiny no man's land. You get me? Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and it also very much prevents enemies from using corners to flank or to do corner kills and defensive maneuvers. But anyways, we got enough resources. Let's start building now. I have just received news that stone fort walls are gone from the game and are potentially going away forever. I don't think this really changes the design that much, but that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Anyway, so again, as we previously mentioned, you can only build up to here. So previously, in previous updates, you couldn't build directly inside, but you could build slightly out. But this was removed due to balance changes, and also the fact that people are horrible, including me, and thus would completely seal off objectives or something, whatever, with indestructibles and stuff. Either way, so what we're going to do is build right here. You can either choose to build directly on the outside wall or interior-wise to maximize the coverage, but you ideally want to have not a single piece exposed on the frontal section because if the enemy can somehow manage to get a crack shot off there, then they only need 2 shots from artillery or whatever guns they need to break it, versus if they hit the objective itself, it's inherently invulnerable, so thus it won't receive any damage. Anyways, as you can see, it is very effective on covering. However, you can still wiggle in if you crouch in. So, assuming that your teammates are not stupid, you'll have to go to the back door or whatnot. You'll also want to build an extra one right here, but frankly, that's just kind of a coverage issue. It's really up to you. Here, this allows mostly full protection from enemies trying to intrude, although, again, with the loss of the stone fort whatnot, rest in peace, it is still very hard to get inside. But as you can see, your avenues of entry are very hard if the enemy is not aware of how to do that. Of course, usually they just try to tear through, but you know, do your best. In previous updates, I'd actually have suggested to use artillery pieces, since they're both completely invulnerable from bullets of any type, and melee attacks, which are the only other way to bypass defenses. But since you can't build like this anymore, it gets stuck up to a point. They're kind of just useless, since you can just crouch under anyways, so you might as well just have a reasonable deterrence that you can easily replace, rather than one, a deterrent that doesn't work, and two, is highly expensive, since if they bring out their own artillery guns to just destroy or break your assets, then you're out of 30 resources. Keep in mind, again, you only technically need one of these just to block coverage, but sometimes you might want to go with 2 or more, due to the fact that hits do not attacking something with melee or even bullets does not hit multiple targets with 1 bullet, and thus you spread your damage through spread your damage. So it's multiplied. I'm not really sure what's the correct terminology. Also, of course, I should mention the barrel. This barrel is genuinely possibly one of the largest causes of objective losses, since A, like every other structure, you can't shoot through it, obviously, since that bullet penetration hasn't been added to the game yet, or potentially ever. But it doesn't list as having health damage right now, but if we build one right now, you'll see it has 1,500 health. As players, we all have 100 health, and bullets damage against structure is roughly against headshots, but either way, with Nopfissel, you need to saw through it for like, what, 10-ish magazines? Even with other more damaging primary guns, you still need a ridiculous amount of firearms. Once you get to objective, if you are having a moment of peace, or indeed if you just captured one, you should take some magazines to just destroy the fire pit barrel as soon as possible, because it is both a very good way for the enemy to hide behind and not get shot, and it just kind of sucks. It also impairs movement a lot, and I've had moments where I run into it and I just don't end up shooting. Again, skill issue, but you know, it's bad. I don't like it. Oh yeah, also if you build a 2 titan defense, it can also cause issues of spawning in. Again, even after it's dead, it's still existing as a dead model, and through then it's still bulletproof. So again, you should very much try to urgently get it destroyed or knocked over as soon as possible. You can typically knock it over by just walking into it or running into it, but it is case by case. It's not perfect hit registry. But either way, when it eventually despawns, you both have a lot of walking room now. Players spawn directly on the floor, and you have a slightly more easier access to ammo. But yeah, either way, the barrel is, if anything, part of the defense of an objective too. So you should try to remove it when possible. If you want a really tight-knit defense, but if you want a really tight-knit defense where you can't even the enemy can't even get inside or like shoot within, you should take some time to put some sandbags in the windows, since you can on most maps. It doesn't really do much, but sandbags are bulletproof. So, and by bulletproof I mean like they are completely resistant to all standard bullet damage, excluding Gatling guns and I believe 50 cals, but I'm not sure. But either way, excluding high caliber bullets and melee, they're pretty much invulnerable. So you should take some time to put them everywhere. Again, they're always very useful, but no one ever uses them because people are chuds and prioritize larger buildings or dog walls for some fucking reason. I never build dog walls, by the way, unless you're building for design. They are by far one of the most useless buildings. Alright, so we've gotten a reasonable objective defense up. Again, very expensive, but if I had done this with stone walls, it'd be a lot more expensive and probably time consuming. I think by the time I constructed this, either A, we'd be in a perpetual stalemate for Johnson or C, or that we have already captured C and we are either about to lose it and I'm just building a strong point or whatever. Usually just nonsense. Frankly, I think most sappers who are watching this video are gonna do it when you're about to win the game and just waste your time. But whatever, man. Anyways, defenses. You on flatter maps like this, you ideally want to get your defenses not visible above ground, but ground level, and to be partially enclosed by the ground terrain. Do you know why? From a distance, any enemy emplacement gun can only see those two log walls right there. The two sets of defensive shielding sticks, which means that the entirety of the structure, unless it's dug up, is otherwise completely defended by the dirt. Again, artillery can eventually just blast through and expose more, but consciously they're going to be trying to shoot to these, which provides a vastly smaller target for them to work with and gives you a bit of an edge from just standard conventional bullets and whatever. Since again, stray bullets do happen, they'll eventually whittle it down even if there is no artillery gun. Again, highly unlikely since 4,000 health, but you might as well. This can also be performed on any conventional ground. You just need to dig below earth slightly. As you can see, again, you now have significantly, you now have a bit, if you dig down, then you have an area to hide under directly away from cover, but either way, you still have a vastly enclosed defense, which hey guys, I'm just a massive pussy, and I heard some weird footsteps, and I'm not doing an ARG, but if you guys, I'm profoundly schizophrenic, and thus I assume there's like a ghost or something. But anyways, we're gonna go back to building. Anyways, you're gonna want, as you previously mentioned, have your fort walls be slightly underground to prevent stray bullets, artillery having a harder target, blah blah blah. Regardless, you're gonna want to. Now you can obviously just place your artillery there, and your artillery won't get dug up. But B, you have a very stable platform to retreat. The usual reasons. I'm pretty sure I made this in my artillery guide. It's still in effect despite some balance changes, but whatever. Anyways, again, you do have a slightly worse firing angle, but I feel like you could deconstruct this so fast that you honestly might as well just slightly move it up every now and then when you need to. If you feel like you're under pressure and like are about to get hit by artillery, then just deconstruct and don't commit to trying to make it work if you don't have a proper firing line, which we do not now. Anyways, so obviously we all know that artillery is bulletproof, that much is obvious, but when a player is, I'm going to just have to spin it around, when a player is using the artillery at all or even loading, they're still not fully enclosed by the artillery. They're still slightly distended out. Upwards, and it's very, and unless you're aiming upwards, it is pretty hard to completely enclose yourself. So what do? This is the rare case where the humble log wall that I personally hate because noobs use it all the time because it's cheap, even though it doesn't really make sense economy wise, since 2 log walls come out to 16. So you only need about like what 4 more resources to get a log wall, which is significantly more resources. Wait, I'm just being petty. You build this. Now you're 90% fully enclosed from any long-range sniper fire, since your loader, if you stay in this 4 position, your loader will be enclosed behind the walls, and 2, from the gunner position, if you maintain a roughly this degree of angle, you will pretty much always be enclosed. Admittedly, your loader will kind of get bent if you start loading, but I feel like you should just return to stable position while you're loading, and then move back into active target seeking position afterwards. However, again, we're on ACHTUNG, but your mileage may vary based on map. Snipers can still shoot downwards, and again, ACHTUNG is very tall map. They can still get a pretty relative accurate headshot on you if they aim slightly a bit ahead, since bullet drop will count for bullet drop will count for getting your bullets over the gun shield. So what do? Take 10 resources. Sandbag. Your humble sandbag. Again, sandbags are completely bulletproof. They're completely bulletproof and are only damaged by A, strong projectiles, and B, melee attacks. And I don't think that melee attacks are going to come into effect on a static artillery position. Again, now you are just completely enclosed from anything. So yeah, this is the ideal perfect defense for artillery. Although again, let's tally up the cost. Let me put away all of the 2 resources I had spare. Candle. Again, this defense comes out to 30, 40, 46, 52, 68 resources, which is a very big amount to spend on a singular artillery piece. Again, if you're doing objective defense, then you want to be sturdy and strong. But yeah, the same applies for making Gatling gun positions too, but they're slightly different because of the Gatling size and the lack of a gun shield. Building on the roof of the objective is a pretty standard defense idea. While you are very much exposed, you do get the benefits of being unable to be dug up, strong points, and you have a very good range of the map since you can shoot from pretty much anything from here to here without being impeded by much terrain, excluding that hill right there, objective, and hills over the hills. You get the point. I'm using this point as to build a Gatling gun specifically because the Gatling gun has no gun shield, as I previously mentioned. And bullets move slightly slower than artillery shells, so it's very beneficial to Jesus Christ, I'm so fucking because I keep like thinking the ghost is gonna eat my ass. Anyways, so this is currently possibly slightly illegal, but since what we're gonna do still has it accessible and you can still shoot like directly through, and it's not the log water fence. I'll explain why that fucking sucks, and frankly, even though it is better than this, you should still not use bugs since it'll lower your craftsmanship. I don't know, cheating stuff on that, whatever. Anyways, position like so. Position like so. We're going to need more resources for this. Building a Gatling gun defense, a fully enclosed Gatling gun defense, is significantly more expensive than artillery, but again, 50 shots versus 1 is a reasonable decision to make. So I still think the Gatling guns should have more bullets or maybe just more damage. I don't know, something. Artillery is too OP right now. Anyways, again, no gun shield, so having a sandbag here is very important to be fully enclosed. Yes, this is. I feel very irresponsible building like this, but I'm kind of lazy. Try to have a bit more opening hole so that people don't report you for doing this, because the legality of this could come into question soon enough. So do not build like an asshole, and otherwise you will ruin it for everyone else, and I will personally beat you to death with a hammer. But anyways. How do I set a good example for youth, but build effective Again, a lot of this defenses are kind of just no, what's Bree even saying? What's Bree saying? Anyways, yeah, we got something going on. Daisy's mama's got an hold on. And yeah, you just because you can go this far doesn't mean you should. And also because the admins will probably fucking like tear your head off. But also you just kind of come out of range anyways if you do this, and you also stop being able to shoot after a certain point. But yeah, you basically get a pretty reasonable defense range, and again you're fully enclosed. Something blah 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 blah. I don't know, I'm kind of fawning at it right now. Now again, you may or may not have seen this, but the current big bug right now, not bug, but you know, it's just inherent issue with the build system is this. The Gatling gun wall. Unfortunately, yes, this does work. You can shoot pretty much unimpeded, and 360 dimensions. If you swing it around the other way, then you'll get defenses in the back, although again you'll be exposed to the front. Blah, 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 blah. It's good on paper, and yes, it's cheap, but however, again, it's with the fantasy, and I say fantasy, that you will be in an environment where you will not be flanked, you will not be attacked by any other infantry doing multiple infantry, and that you live in a world where there's only Gatling guns. This game, as I previously mentioned, is very much ruled by one placement, and that is the artillery gun. There is no defense against the artillery gun. If you see this, it is by far one of the easiest targets to take down, especially even if they anchor it properly with a wooden platform or whatever, a small platform. Because even still, if it's just this on the ground and no dirt, it's out. And again, even if you place on artillery, well, again, you still deal with the apex predator of this game is still artillery. So again, I almost see no reason to ever actually build the Gatling gun wall, unless A, this game is finally dead and it's just no developers watching you, which is near impossible, since A, the game would need to be dead but still have like a small player base, and also that the developers have a hotline for reporting this, so you are pretty much screwed if you get caught by one person who has Discord. But regardless, there is almost zero incentive to build it, since you are at risk not being able to play the game, getting banned, and also that it just sucks if anyone chooses the obvious rock paper scissors solution of field gun, which is also equally as cheap. If anything, building a field gun is cheaper than the log wall. Here, let me show you. Okay, serial objective, right? You see it? Bam. Not only do you get free automatic defense with the artillery gun's metal gun shield, it is significantly cheaper by about like 6 resources, which is not a lot, but but again, you lose a lot more if you do the log wall. Don't do it. Who's your brain on drugs? Anyways, objective defense still applies to here, but you know, forward facing now, dig out areas, blah, blah, blah. However, now is a good time to mention stairways when going to objective to Johnson. All objectives have stairways leading to the bottom of the map, or at least, you know, their intended height. I believe on Pine 2, the objective doesn't lead fully underground. It only leads to a certain point downwards. So you kind of have to just what was the word? But you just have to you'd have to dig out almost to the bottom of that tower, which is again reaches to the bottom of the map in here, ACHTUNG. So you have to dig a ridiculous amount of ground to fully prevent just climbing up the ladders. But either way, you should try to dig straight down once you reach a point of turn point. Because again, if you do this, then it is significantly harder for them to climb up. Obviously, they have to dig out the stairways, and B, admittedly, if they already have Johnson captured and you just jump down, then you're gonna get shot to shit by them trying to claw their way up. But it is a lot faster than using the stairs, and relatively you don't lose as much health. It's like as compared to other methods of instantly getting the Johnson fast without using the stairs. So also again, coverage matters. If you dig just straight diagonal line from your objective to Johnson, then the enemy can also use that tunnel, as you know, all tunnels are two-way, and it's an open path straight up. So if you're trying to enter, then they'll just shoot back upwards, and you can shoot back down to them, but either way you still have to do the protracted tunnel defense. Whereas if you just dig straight down, then you just have no issue with that. And yeah, we're here at Johnson. Historically, you could build on top of objective, but again, not anymore due to build zone updates. So honestly, there's pretty little incentive unless you built a diagonal lineup to bother defending Johnson at all. It should just be a forward attack point. Use the stage charges, such as you capture Johnson and you just immediately rush up to Charlie or Butter to attack from there. But otherwise, you just kind of gotta let it be attacked and attacked. Whatever. Anyways, home defense. Or, well, home spawn defense. A big problem with home defense is that A, spawn borders still exist, so you can only get so close. But B, well, yes, defenses are intended to, defend you. They should not be, unless you're intentionally playing for it, they should not be built. They should not be built as if as they're impervious to damage. They have a health point, so you have to build them eventually to fail. So you do not want to build overly well developed frontal defenses where AMS would charge. So yes, building a wall here does help you from getting down the stairs easier, so you don't get jumped by 3 million emeralds. But 3 million emeralds are still gonna attack here because again, it's your frontal defense. They need to go past that, so either they have to go around it, which as you all know, in life on the road which has blockage, there are all the drivers on the road are children, so they're never gonna flank unless they're gonna leave the game before they flank, if anything. So they're just gonna attack frontally. They're just gonna bash their heads in through, and eventually they're gonna get something else and bust the hole through. Which is again why Great Wall of China setups don't work, because again, you're building it with the assumption that people are just going to attack it frontally with solely bullets. They're just going to charge up and get stopped here and just wonder what the fuck do I do. But 2, again, scope and shovel. People are going to bring shovels out instantly to dig, or if they're too lazy to do that or you're defending too well, they're just going to whip out fromage charges and just blast through. People, again, will attack frontally, and frontal attacks means that eventually it's going to die. But again, Great Wall of China setups where you wall off the entire section of the map work not by sealing off all avenues of attack, attack because, again, people can respawn, but B, again, people only attack frontally. They will choose the most obvious option, even if it's not, the best option. So they're just going to bash their heads again through it, and unless you can repair that hole in the wall fast enough, they're just going to keep going through it. And thus, you now have a hole in the wall, which, again, a little bit easier to defend, but again, you did not account for failure. And again, at 4,000 health, you're going to fail eventually. So, well, yes, all you did was just deter, well, yes, you did successfully deter people from flanking. Again, people will attack frontally if possible, but B, you only accomplished one layer of defense from flanking, but you did not manage to successfully prevent the obvious hole in the wall. Why am I even building at this end? That defeats my entire point. Also, again, deconstruct has a completely unlimited range, so at any point where you are of lost ground, do not just leave it there. Try to jump down, deconstruct it as fast as possible to, again, refund your resources so that you don't have to start your defenses again. But B, the enemy can't use it, since, again, they'll very much turn around their guns and use free stuff to against you. So again, if frontal defenses don't work, then what will? You're never going to believe this, but slightly not frontal defenses. If a defense does not directly impede their attack, then 9 out of 10, no, not 9, 7 out of 10 times, they're not just going to rush past it. And again, at pro levels of play, you are actually not terribly incentivized to just, bash your head through and destroy everything if you're still attacking. If you're whittling down defenses to prepare for the big push, then yes, you have to, because, any asset available to the enemy should be destroyed to weaken them, to just slowly weaken them. But again, you're not required to kill everyone to break everything. You just need to win. You win and play objective. So if you build slightly away from frontal, then yeah, you will get attacked a little bit less. So what you do is not build walls or defensive structures, but you build forts for attack. And either A, you just deal enough damage to just blow them up and just eventually let your little chubby teammates to push in and retake land, or you just do enough damage. And again, you gotta build for failure. You gotta build for eventual failure. Slightly, just keep doing enough damage until the enemy notices you and starts to bring out heavier tools to attack you. You should try to keep, if the enemy does not have tools stronger than what they equip by default, then you should keep operating in defense. But if they bring out artillery or Vermont charges, then immediately refund your cost to cause them it's not debt, but rather they just wasted their time, which they could have spent attacking the regular offenses. And yeah, I believe that's actually fully. Oh wait, there is one thing left. This is not for attackers. This is not for defenders and the ideal Sapper target audience. But currently, this is still legal and weirdly enough, developer approved. You can just bypass towers by doing this. Again, with the loss of fort walls, this is a little bit harder since they're a lot weaker now, but they can be dug up a lot faster. But yeah. If you're not intercepted fast enough, then there's little the enemy can do other than just rushing to the bottom of the tower and trying to dig you up or destroy it. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for this week. I think let's call it quits. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this brief time we had to discuss strats. And yeah, see you not next week. I'm not gonna put that on myself. See you next time. See you next issue. Goodbye.
Oh, did he?